I get it, you've been scrolling through endless listings, watching glossy videos of floor polishing machines that promise a showroom shine with the push of a button, only to wonder if you'll end up with a heavy, noisy contraption that barely gets past the kitchen tiles before blowing a fuse. That hesitation is real, and it's why I'm sitting here today to walk through the Powr Flite NM1600 Millennium Edition electric burnisher and see if it actually lives up to the hype. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of situation where a burnisher becomes essential. I'm thinking of homeowners who have hardwood, tile, or stone flooring and want to keep that glossy finish without hiring a professional every few months. Maybe you've just refinished a living room floor and need a tool that can spread the polish evenly, or perhaps you manage a small coffee shop where the daily traffic leaves a thin film of grime that a regular mop can't erase. In those scenarios, a burnisher that can maintain consistent contact with the floor and spin fast enough to bring out the shine is the piece of equipment that can save you time and money. The NM1600 spins at 1,600 revolutions per minute, which sits in the sweet spot for most residential and light commercial finishes. That speed is fast enough to generate the heat and friction needed for a true burnish, but it isn't so high that the machine becomes a safety nightmare on a family carpet. The 20-inch flexible pad driver is a real plus, because the pad can flex a little, it hugs the floor even when you're working around a corner or an uneven transition strip. I've seen cheaper models with stiff pads that either skip over low spots or drag, leaving streaks that ruin the whole effort. This flexibility means you spend less time repositioning the machine and more time actually polishing. Another detail that often gets overlooked is the thumb-activated safety interlock. The switch sits right where your thumb naturally rests, so you have to press it to start the burnisher. In a busy kitchen or a workshop where kids might be walking around, that feature eliminates the dreaded "I turned it on without meaning to" moment. It's not a futuristic safety system, but it's exactly the kind of practical safeguard you'll appreciate after a few close calls. Now, who should really consider buying the NM1600? If you're a DIY enthusiast who has already tackled a floor refinishing project, or a small business owner looking to keep a tile or stone floor presentable on a tight budget, this machine hits the mark. The price point, while not cheap, sits below many commercial-grade burnishers that promise industrial durability you'll never need for a home or a 2,000 square foot shop. The fact that each unit is assembled and tested by skilled American workers adds a layer of confidence that the machine won't fall apart after a few months of use. For people who want a reliable, mid-range tool that doesn't require a heavy-duty warranty, the NM1600 feels like a solid compromise. On the flip side, if you run a full-scale flooring business that needs to burnish dozens of thousand-square-foot projects each week, the NM1600 might feel underpowered. Its 1,600 revolutions per minute motor is great for residential finishes, but the torque isn't comparable to a 3,500 revolutions per minute commercial unit that can plow through grime while you're still setting up the next pad. Also, the 49-inch height makes the machine a bit taller than a standard mop, meaning you'll need a little extra clearance under cabinets or low doorways. If you live in a cramped apartment with narrow staircases, the dimensions could become a logistical hurdle. Let's dive into practical strengths. The non-marking bumpers around the base are more than just a cosmetic touch, they actually prevent the machine from scuffing walls, baseboards, or nearby furniture if you accidentally bump into something. I've watched videos where burnishers without this protection leave a line of dull paint where the machine scraped against a wall. Those bumpers mitigate that risk, especially when you're working in tight hallways. The flexible pad also means you won't have to constantly lift the machine for each new strip, just roll it along and the pad adapts, which reduces fatigue during longer sessions. When it comes to weaknesses, the biggest practical complaint I've heard from users of similar models is the weight. The NM1600 isn't a featherlight device. The motor and housing add up to a respectable heft that can be tiring if you're polishing a large area in one go. It's not a problem if you have a solid floor and can push the machine in a straight line, but if you're navigating lots of furniture or tight corners, you'll feel the strain. Also, the machine doesn't come with multiple pad sizes. The 20-inch pad is the only option, which is fine for standard rooms but might be limiting for narrow staircases or very small spaces. You'll need to buy an aftermarket adapter if you want a smaller pad. Another nuance worth mentioning is power cord length. The unit ships with a